What are you doing here? Ah! 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 Whew.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Bits and Gory 2022 October, and we have another no death run for you. This time it's going to be Friday the 13th on the NES. What does this no death run entail? Basically, it is pick a counselor and do not die with said counselor. Yes, there will be children and other counselors being killed during this run. However, we are not actually using them, so in my opinion, it doesn't matter. That could be a different challenge run on its own, saving everybody and everything. But for the purpose of this challenge run, we are just picking one counselor, sticking with them, and not dying. And leading into the tips for the run, number 1, use Mark or Chrissy. For this run, we use Mark. Mark or Chrissy, there's really nowhere to go wrong with either or. They are clearly the most athletic and best counselors to choose from. A lot of the other ones are very slow, they can't jump, whatever the case may be. So either use Mark or Chrissy if you're attempting to do this run. If you want a real challenge, I guess you could use one of the other people. Number 2, probably the most important thing, get the torch as early as possible. The torch is the number 1 weapon for killing Jason as fast as possible. How do you get the torch? I'll go over it again in the video, but very quickly. First, you need to kill a few enemies and grab a lighter. Then, you have to jump around. These aren't random, by the way, these are designated areas from what I understand. When you jump up in the air, you unveil like secret items. You need to get a knife, and you need to get a key. Once you do that, you go into the lake area and head to the northern big cabin, where you'll go in, you'll get a note telling you to go to the woods. You then go to the woods, you do some shenanigans in there, you go into a secret cabin in the woods, you enter, you leave, you re-enter, you then find another note telling you to about the fire, basically. And then what you do is you backtrack out of the woods to go back to the northern cabin by the lake, and there you can grab your torch. If you accidentally grab another item, like another weapon or something throughout the run, I would recommend just resetting, or you can go back into that cabin. I think it's to get a machete or something like that. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. But pretty much if you lose the torch, I would just reset. The game's not that long anyway. Number 3, make sure you get the vitamins. What do the vitamins do? Well, you can heal other counselors inside of cabins, but obviously for this run, we're not doing that. It's basically a get out of jail free card. If you die and you have vitamins on your person, you will then not die and regain a little bit of health. It doesn't refill your health completely, unfortunately, it just does a little bit, so make sure to get as many as you can. A lot of them are in the woods, but they are also littered throughout Camp Crystal Lake in general. Number 4, understand Jason. Now this one's going to be a little bit long here, I'll talk about it more in the actual video. From what I understand regarding Jason's movements, I did a lot of testing before this run. If he starts killing counselors at the beginning of the run at the top of the map, this usually indicates he's going to be doing the same movement pattern. If he starts at the bottom, things get really weird. I'm just going to say it right now, if he starts at the bottom of the map, if I were you, I would just reset. It's easier to kind of map Jason out in your head if he starts at the top. So typically he'll go around Camp Crystal Lake in a counterclockwise fashion, he'll stop in at the cave area and he'll go clockwise there. After the cave area, he'll make a beeline to the lake. You could always stalk him by the lake entrance, which is point number 5, I'm kind of combining 4 and 5 here. However, if you don't kill him at the lake entrance, he will then go out into the lake, into the cabins, and attack the kids. From there, you have to decide, are you going to follow him in and save the kids? I don't advise this. Fighting Jason in the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out perspective is not very easy. Or wait for him on the outside of the lake. Now, if you have enough kids alive, I would just skip it, because eventually, you might be able to kill him before he gets to the kids on one of the days. So, meet him at the front of the lake and meet him on the outside of the lake. If you're fast enough, you can actually catch him twice outside of the lake, so that's pretty good. It usually takes about 3 or 4 Jason encounters with the torch to kill him for good for that day. After he leaves the lake, he will then head down towards the woods. Again, unless he started killing at the bottom of the map, where he then will head up and back out into the main road. Again, the whole bottom of the map start, I'm actually not even going to talk about it. Just reset, guys. If he starts killing at the bottom, just reset. The top of the map is a more normal routing and easier to understand. So, skipping over 5 since we talked about that already, we're going to go right to 6, which we also sort of touched on. Try to fight Jason outside. He is immensely easier and you take less damage outside, and you could also catch up with him if you're fast enough to kind of get a 2 or 3 cycle on him. 7, You have to have the kids stay safe for at least one day. There's 3 groups of kids. On a typical normal run, if you keep these strategies in mind, Jason will probably be in the kid's cabin 3 times, so you might have to go in and fight him. However, if at all possible, either day 1, day 2, or day 3, try to kill Jason before he gets to the kids. It is possible to stalk him around the map. The funny thing is the gist of this game revolves around Jason, right, trying to kill you. It's a slasher movie, but in reality, you're stalking Jason down and trying to kill him as fast as possible. It's pretty funny. Ultimately, guys, as always, have fun. The name of the game is getting geared up appropriately, knowing Jason, and stalking Jason. And with all that being said, enjoy the run. Alright guys, we are now entering into the Friday the 13th No Death run on the NES, where we're just going to be using Mark. I went over a lot of tips and tricks before the video started, so I will try my best to not repeat myself. Here the game tells you to light the fireplaces to get the torch. Well, you don't actually have to do that. And I obviously discussed that before the video started, so you're going to see it in action here. You could light the fireplaces, but in reality, it's kind of a waste of time. And speaking of a waste of time, you're going to be seeing lots of that, as I am not totally perfect in tracking down Jason, so I'm going to be doing a lot of Jason camping, so to speak. But here, as you guys heard at the beginning, we had to get the lighter, a key, and a knife. And now, since we have those items, obviously I like to grab those vitamin packs along the way to ensure that we don't actually die, because what happens with those is if you die with them in your inventory, you don't actually die, you regain a little bit of health. And yeah, they're basically lifesavers. So with those 3 items, we went to the big cabin on the north of the lake, where we got the note to go into the woods. And now we're going to go into the woods, where we're going to end up using the key that we picked up. And eventually we're going to get a early game torch. So we don't have to do any of that fireplace lighting stuff, because the flashlight isn't even needed. You can get through the caves without the flashlight anyway. So here we went up twice in that path to get into the cabin in the woods. The way that I do it is I leave and go back in twice, basically, in order to get the note about the torch. However, there has been a few times where I've gone in once and I've received the note, and I don't really understand what the deal is there. I don't know if there's something special about it or what, but either way. Go in twice to pretty much secure it. Obviously grabbing more vitamins along the way. And now we're going to head back to the cabin north of the lake. As you can see, Jason is attacking somebody on the cave path, which we discussed earlier. But our first goal, again, is to get the torch, which now we have an early game torch, which is great because, well, we're about 2 minutes into the run. Not too shabby. So pretty much now, guys, other than collecting a few more vitamin packs, if you will, we're ready to go. Try not to get hit by, you know, spawning enemies, whether it's the zombies or if we have to go into the woods or something like that, you know, the wolves, or if we end up going out in the lake, the birds or crows, whatever the hell they are. And yeah, we're camping Jason. As I said, we're at the entrance of the lake. We know that he is going to be coming here. I did mention that one of the very important things about Jason camping is at some point, either on day 1, day 2, or day 3, you're going to have to stop him from killing the children. Whether it's you kill Jason before he even gets to the lake, which is a little bit tougher, unless you know the game, you know, like the back of your hand, and you get good RNG too on top of that. Or you will have to go into the cabin. And here we got Jason, as we knew that he was going to be coming. Hit him as much as we can. Like I said, if he's not going to the lake and you're able to like catch up with him on the overworld, so to speak, if you move fast enough, you can, and then like 2 or 3 cycle him. But at the foot of the lake, entrance of the lake, he is eventually just going to go into the cabin. And we choose violence. And there, thankfully, since we had 3 things of vitamins, we were not going to die. Jason gets tougher too, by the way. Like day 2 or day 3, could be both. He gets faster, and one of those days he mixes up his attacks in the cabin, where You'll go slow and then fast and just do it randomly. I don't advise fighting Jason in the cabin by any means. It's not advisable. The only reason I did it was because, like I said, one of the days you need to get him before he gets the children. So I chose to just go in right away. That way I don't waste any time. You know what I mean? Because, like, think about it. Let's say I didn't go in and he killed the kids. And let's say he killed the kids on day 2. And then on day 3 I go after him and I end up dying, the run's over, and I wasted, 10 to 15 minutes, so that's my reasoning for that. Thankfully we grabbed some more medicine. Anybody that might know the game more than me, feel free to chime in. I don't believe that the medicines respawn on each day. I could be wrong. I feel like I did a little bit of mild testing and it seemed like they didn't respawn. But there are a bunch of medicines, clearly, as you can see, littered throughout. Here we got Jason again. And I made one wrong move there. Are we able to catch up with him? No. See, like I said, guys, the people that are really, really good at the game, that know everything, and have done a lot of practice. For the record, this run was my second or third recorded attempt, and maybe like my 4th or 5th overall actual attempt. And I only played this game for like a day and a half. And what I mean by that is possibly, what, 3 or 4 hours? I really didn't put too much time into this. And that's kind of how a lot of my runs are, to be honest with you guys. I take the same approach that I did in high school, where I pretty much just like cram all this information and all this, practice or training, whatever you want to call it. And then I get the run done. And chances are, if you come back to me a month or 2 later and you're like, hey, do this run, I probably won't be able to do it right away. But here we're taking the conservative approach again. We're camping Jason by the lake. And we're just hoping that we're able to kill him here. Thankfully, again, we have all those vitamin containers. Yeah, the run actually kind of almost came to an end there. It's a very good thing that I was able to grab those extra vitamin containers, because without them, we would have died. That wasn't the best day 1. But at the end of the day, the following was accomplished. 1, no children died. 2, only 1 counselor died. And 3, we didn't die and we advanced to day 2. So we got a really crappy start here. I'm assuming, again, this is something that I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming since we killed Jason by the lake, we either got horrible RNG or he was still destined to start at the lake, so he's actually starting in the children's cabin, which sucks, because now, since he started there, if we don't take care of business quickly, he can make 2 trips to the lake before we kill him, which pretty much defeats the whole purpose of us going inside the cabin in day 1 and having to utilize one of the extra medicine containers. So, what we're trying to do, I believe I'm trying to find more medicine. The medicine is in predetermined spots. And I know there's a lot in the woods, so that's probably why I was jumping around like an idiot. I think there's more in the northern woods, though, than there are in the southern. But at this point, Jason's about to kill the first group of kids, so we're going to camp him on the lake exit. And then we're going to hope that we could track Jason down before he makes his beeline to the southern woods. And if we can't, then we're going to hope that we could basically catch him back on the road. Because like I said, it does suck that he started with killing the kids. There's really no way around that. That's not good. So here's Jason. Do our usual, just mash, 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 and now we're going to try to catch him. We're taking a little bit of extra damage, trying to see if we can catch him before we get to the woods. Doesn't look like we did. So now I think we're going to try to intercept him on the road. And like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure that he goes north after that lake exit scenario. If he spawns at the bottom of the map, then he goes out north. I'm actually wondering now, does that change from day to day? I don't think it should, but it might actually. Anyway, it's kind of irrelevant. It's hard to tell because he started killing kids at the lake no matter what. So our goal right now, guys, again, is we're trying really, really hard to kill Jason before he gets back to the kids. So we know that he's in this cabin. Unfortunately, too, for this run, we can't switch to any other counselors. That was my, my predetermined thing here. So there is a way to bait Jason out of the cabin, and that's what I'm trying to do here. Unfortunately, I don't pull it off. I did see with speedrunners that I think the speedrunners that I saw anyway, that if you actually switch the counselors quickly and then leave, he'll follow you out. Don't know if it's complete RNG or not, but that's what I saw from a few runs that I ended up watching after I did this run. Either way, my little shtick that I tried there of going in and out twice did not work. So we now know that Jason is in the cabin. He's gonna kill the counselor, but he is gonna have to come out. So what we're trying to do now is we're trying to intercept him on his path, as we know that he goes counterclockwise around Camp Crystal Lake. So we're hoping that we we run into him here. And we did. Now, if we catch up to him, yep, there we go. We know which direction he's going. Looks like he's locked in here, and we were able to mash our way through. And day 2 is over. We actually ended up doing pretty well there with tracking him down after the horrible start. So, we're now on day 3. At this point, I'm very confident that we're going to get it done. As there's 2 groups of children left. Yes, I think we're pretty low on medicine right now. I think we only have 1 or 2 jars left. And I don't believe we're going to find another unless we go veering off course. Yeah, we have 2 jars, so that's better than 1, clearly. I think I might have went into that cabin to check my medicine situation. We're going to let Jason, obviously, kill the counselor. One thing, too, that I noticed on day 3, in my few practice runs that I did, Jason seems to stay on the attack until his death once in a while. Don't know the deal there exactly. I think it happens in this run, too, believe it or not. I also think that I did have another run where this wasn't the case, but there was 2 where it did happen, where I encountered Jason on the road, and he's just like, yo, we're going all the way to the death. Like, he doesn't even run off the screen. Not sure why. Might just be programmed day 3 that he's just on the hunt for real. But in any event, if you have enough medicine containers and you haven't been getting ping-ponged around by zombies and stuff, that's actually good, because then your job becomes super easy. Which is, right now, we're just camping the lake. That upper left cabin, he always goes there every run. I think on a casual run, if you guys aren't trying to do a 1 counselor, no death run, if you put a counselor in there, basically, like, you can kind of do some swapping, because you could always swap your torches, or if you're able to get like a set of torches from Mark, and then somebody else, maybe Chrissy, and put her up there, that's a good place to kind of camp Jason, and have a good stronghold, so to speak. You can pretty much camp that spot and the lake. In my opinion, those are like the 2 top camping spots, with obviously the lake being clearly the best. Because it's like brain dead. You don't have to do any swapping or anything, you just literally wait for them. And since we do have the 2 groups of children still alive, we could totally afford to let Jason do his thing. But like I said, I think we fight Jason to the death immediately here. But if we were to not, obviously we would just fight him here, fight him on the outside of the lake, and then track him down pretty much one more time somewhere else, whether it be at the start of the lake again when he eventually comes back, or you can kind of force the issue and track him around, the campground site in general. But yeah, we're sitting pretty right now, guys. Unless I take a massive amount of damage from random enemies, there's basically no way that we're gonna die. Again, if we had only 1 vitamin container, I think we would die. But yeah. So as far as the little minute details, as long as you get to day 3 with 10 children, and you have at least 2 medicine containers, you're basically guaranteed to win. You could be as passive and as conservative as possible. Now, of course, if you can't press buttons fast, or like you choke and you just like Jason appears on the screen and you just like, I don't know, he freezes you in a sense. Like you're like, oh my god, it's Jason. Then you might die. But as long as you just sit there and just keep mashing the button, you'll kill him. So we're just playing the waiting game now. My mouse turned off. I was gonna click to see how much longer was left in the video, but I don't want to accidentally stop recording this voiceover, So we're just playing the waiting game, guys, taking in the wonderful scenery of Camp Crystal Lake, listening to the amazing soundtrack. The one thing about the soundtrack, I actually like it a lot. It's just so loopy and short, but it's very atmospheric and very memorable. I had the, oh, here we go. All right, here's Jason. So yes, like I said, he's just going in for the kill now, so we're just gonna stay in here and keep throwing this shit at him. We're actually not taking too much damage. Oh yeah, wow, we killed him before we even used the vitamin. Nice. Alright, I finally managed to defeat Jason, but is he really dead? We're not telling. And you guys think Jason is dead? Probably not, right? Anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this no death run and commentary, and if you haven't beaten the game before, hopefully this could help you do so. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more no death runs. Take care.